Thank you. That list of sciences and list of people and places I work with reflects my lack of focusing on particular subjects, which is also why I brought a little piece of cheat sheet here. So my main message is, we're all here for the same reasons. I'm humbled by science. I'm humbled by its power, of its discoveries, its inventions. It amazes me, and I found so much interest in science that I'm devoting my career to it. I'm also humbled to have been invited to speak here today with Brian and Amber and all the other volunteers, so thank you very much. I think it's great that everyone here showed up. It's cold, it's rainy. By the way, if it's cold and raining and at this point of the year, does that mean that climate change is not happening? So my background is originally in pure math, and I was just so interested in the kind of math that has absolutely no applications and no foreseeable application. I was just enthralled by that, and number theory, prime numbers, and stuff that eventually has an application. But I was just. And then at some point in my studies, I discovered fractal geometry and ways that math can be used to study and understand how trees grow and how riverbeds are formed and how the stars are formed by collapsing and that kind of chaos and stuff. And that really is when I took a turn from the pure side to the applied side. And then I went and did some studies in astrophysics. And after that, I switched to biomedicine. And the main thing we're doing right now is cancer research, mainly breast cancer research. So when I set up my lab on campus, I hired a bunch of students. Brian is one of them. And our lab motto was solve cancer in March and then go on Oprah in June. And I was clever enough to not put a year next to that. So it could be any March. Could be March of 2069, but at least at some point it would work. So seriously, I wanted to acknowledge and thank the Maine Cancer Foundation because they have funded a lot of my research over the years. So some of you are donators. I want to thank you. If you have a breast cancer plate on your car, part of that money, that extra fee that you pay, goes to the Maine Cancer Foundation. And then the Maine Cancer Foundation is really great at redistributing that money to researchers here in Maine in different causes in different ways. I also want to thank all the volunteers who help with cancer research. Some just help collect money, some help directly by driving patients to their medical appointments. So it takes a lot of people to make this work and to help. I want to go back and I want to talk about the importance of fundamental science. Like I said, at first, for me, math, pure math was a thing. I didn't care about applications. I just wanted to do it for the sake of doing it. And if I take the example of astronomy, so a lot of people will say, well, why do you study stars and such that are light years away and we still have people dying in Africa and we have droughts and famine? And the answer to that is often, well, wait, the discoveries we're making in astronomy help us develop some technology that eventually has use on Earth here. Like our cell phones have technology that was originally invented by stuff that was needed to help us observe the stars. And so that's mainly because the astronomers are so limited in what they can do because they have these objects that are very far out and they can't go and they can take a picture of it from here, but they can't go to the side of it and look at it in the other ways. We were just limited that way. So that has always forced the astronomers to develop these cool techniques and technology, and that's brought back here. So that's typically the answer to those people who question why we put so money in fields that have like fundamental science like astronomy. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I think the main, the trickle-down effect of funding fundamental science is funding new fans of science. I grew up loving looking at the stars. I actually studied astronomy for a while, but still, and I still work in that sometimes, but it's the idea that you are a fan of science itself, and then you become a scientist, you become a teacher, you become a volunteer, you become whatever is needed to make this whole science thing work well. So to end, I'd just like to share a personal story. I was 1 year at one of these Maine Cancer Foundation annual events, and I was there as a scientist, having been funded by them. And one lady approached me, and she was obviously wearing a wig, so she was a breast cancer patient undergoing treatment, and she came and thanked me just for being a scientist working on breast cancer. And that was very humbling to me, because I'm a fan of science, I love doing it, and obviously I have an interest in succeeding, but it was very humbling, and she was thanking me. And in the end, what I want to do is thank her and thank all of the people who take the time and thank the scientists. If we encourage each other, I think that's how we're going to make progress. To me, that experience was one of the most fundamental things that happened to me as a scientist, to have someone actually come in and thank me personally for what I was doing, even though it has absolutely no direct effect on her. So I'd like to encourage us to encourage each other. And so if I can end by saying, if you can just look at your neighbor here and look at whoever you're with, or strangers, just take a second and thank them for being here today so we can make science progress. Thank you.